I'ma keep it a bean. Stick to the script every scene. These from last year, but they clean. Say to say I'ma take something else, but it's winning team. Charlie Sheen, fam gang the regime. I'm from Potty Green.
This been overdue forever. Asked me when it was dropping, said never. Should've made you cut the feather, but I designed it Freemason Margiela.
What's good, Shellitronnn here, the most woke, no joking. I'm back again with a brand new video. And in today's episode, we're gonna be talking about help. Yep, help. Everybody needs help. There's not a single person in the world who can do it all by themselves. Doesn't matter how high you are in your profession, what level you are in life. I don't care what Drake said in that song. Everyone needs help. And I'm talking about Christian McCaffrey here. And there's a guy in this draft right here that I think we're all pretty high on. For the most part, from what I've been seeing from other Panthers fans and whatnot, just about everyone is very high on this guy. I'm talking about David Montgomery out of Iowa State. This guy to me is one of the safest picks you can make at running back in this draft. There may be some boomer bust other guys who could have a better career than him. And you know, David Montgomery does project to be more of a backup or a 1A, 1B kind of guy. He's not going to carry your franchise to a Super Bowl on his back or, you know, be one of these premier guys in the league, or at least he doesn't project that way. But his value as a backup, or like I said, a 1A, 1B kind of guy, is very, very high. I think he works best if he's going to be paired with a slippery kind of fast, sort of athletic kind of back, and I think the Panthers have that kind of guy. But that right there isn't the only draw for why I want the team to pick up David Montgomery. Look, I just don't want to see the Panthers go down the same hole that so many other NFL teams go through, where if they go in the draft and they find a really good running back and they find out they have really good production early on in the career, I don't want to be one of those teams that just pounds and pounds and pounds them into the ground, squeezing every bit of production they can out of them, get to 4 years, and then franchise tag, and then say, well, look, man, hey, you're kind of older now, you have all these miles on your body, and we really can't give you the kind of deal that you deserve, that your productivity has, you know, proven that you can get. So, you know, you can either take this kind of small deal that is way undervaluing you, or you can leave and, you know, test the market out, see what you can do. Because honestly, running back is one of the easiest positions to find in the draft. The skill set does translate pretty seamlessly from college to the pros. If you're a really great running back, for the most part, you're going to find a way to, you know, be really good in the NFL. And that's what we've seen over a long time. And I think that Christian McCaffrey can have a much longer career if we pair him up early on enough, meaning this year, with a guy who can be a bruising back. Not really, you know, a speed kind of guy, but he's athletic enough and he has enough moves to be elusive in space. David Montgomery has all those qualities. I'll get to that more in a second. But look at his stats right here. His first year in Iowa State was pretty good for a freshman. I mean, you don't really see this big of a contribution from freshmen usually, especially in the Big 12. But Iowa State was actually, you know, kind of impressive over the last few years. It's not really a school I think of very much when I think of powerhouses of college football, but, you know, they were, I think, ranked 15 at one point. They may have gone higher, may have been a little bit lower at the end of the season, but I'm not going to lie to you. I don't really watch Iowa State when I am watching college football, just as a full disclaimer here. But 109 attempts, 563 yards, 2 touchdowns as a freshman. That's not bad. His sophomore and junior year are actually very, very impressive. Sophomore year, 258 attempts, 1,146 yards, 11 touchdowns, 4.4 yards per carry, and he was actually also pretty productive in the receiving game as well. 36 receptions, almost 300 yards, no touchdowns, but he is very, very skilled at, you know, those swing routes, those little hitches. I think he ran a lot more hitches than he did swing routes at Iowa State, and that works out really well for us because do we have a scheme that likes to accentuate, you know, check downs and swings to our running backs? I think we do. I think he would fit in Norv Turner's system very, very well. But moving on, his senior year, he had 257 rush attempts, which is only 1 less than his sophomore year. But he ended up getting, like, what, 70 more yards that season at 1,216, 2 more touchdowns. He had a little bit less production in the receiving game, 22 receptions, 157 yards. But still, honestly, this man is a huge asset. And like I said, he probably isn't the most impressive running back in this draft class, but I think he's going to be the safest one. He can work well in a lot of different systems. He's not really a speed back, and he's not really like a hit stick kind of guy who's going to lower his shoulder and lift up and knock a guy's teeth out. But he has that bowling ball kind of mentality. He can just lower his shoulders and just go through you. You can see his combine numbers right here. He ran a 4.63 in the 40. Only 15 in the bench press. That's, you know, that's not all that bad. It's not great, but it's not terrible either. A 28.5-inch vert is... I've seen... Look, he's not going to be winning any kind of like dunk contest anytime soon. But the point I'm trying to make here is that while David doesn't really have those blockbuster, you know, jump off your screen, jumping out the gym kind of athletic numbers in production, he has functional strength, functional agility. He's so slippery in his own kind of way that he's a big asset. His jump cut. The biggest thing for me is his jump cut. He has such good balance, man. Through contact, he's so smooth in his movements that he just freezes guys up. And if they do get a hand on him, if you're not putting your shoulder pad in his chest, you're not bringing him down. This guy has such good balance. If you try to push him, you know, just lay a shoulder into him, his balance is so, it's borderline immaculate. I keep using that word, but it is borderline immaculate. That's the biggest word that every analyst, everyone who like studies his game comes up with, is his balance is so great. When you factor all that in with his ability to actually also catch out the backfield, he was also lined up in the slot and even out wide sometimes. Those aren't really his strengths, and I wouldn't really want to do that too much just because, you know, we already have Christian McCaffrey, we already have a lot of guys out there, DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel, Jarius Wright. Is Torrey going to still be there? There's a lot of other guys out there. I mean, you have to also take into account, you know, Ian Thomas, maybe some Greg Olsen. So there's a lot of other kind of receiving threats on the team that I don't know if I would put David Montgomery out there, out wide. I don't really see the Panthers using David Montgomery out in the slot all that much, unless it's like, you know, with pre-snap motion, he comes around. But the way that we use our receivers to also run the ball, I keep him in the backfield because also this man can pass block. This man is a sturdy, willing, and able pass blocker. He doesn't really have the best base at all, but like his strength and his frame is so stout that he's not going to get pushed back. You won't get him on his heels. He is a very he's a very adequate, I want to say more than adequate pass blocker, and that's what we need in our backfield. We could have Armor back there. We could even have Chris Manhertz play in the backfield as well. But when you think about defensive scheming, if they see Chris Manhertz or even Alex Armor in the backfield, they're not really going to be having to scheme all that much. You know what's going to be happening. Either they're getting the ball in their hands or they're blocking. You're not going to see them going out on routes out of the backfield very often. But if you see David Montgomery back there, he can be doing anything. The ball might go in his hands on a pass, might go in his hands on a run. He might be blocking for Cam. And, you know, protection is everything. The two biggest things that Coach Rivera said he wanted to focus on in this draft was protection for Cam and getting weapons for Cam. David Montgomery fits both of those things in one. Now, obviously, there's a little bit of a smokescreen there because we have to get some defense as well. Those obviously aren't the two only things we need, but David Montgomery is going to be a huge asset for the team. The only problem with David Montgomery is he's going to be a third-round pick. I do not see this man. I mean, it could happen, but I don't see him falling to the fourth round, and I think the team's needs are a little bit skewed more toward O-line, edge rusher, and safety in the first 3 rounds. Now, at number 100, I'm not sure if he's going to be there, but I would not be against using our 4th round pick. No. Using our number 100 pick and maybe our 5th round pick to move up in the draft. We could probably really just use our number 100 pick and the 6th round pick to move up maybe 10, 15 spots, who knows, and pick up David Montgomery late in the 3rd. But I've seen a few mock drafts where people have him going in the 4th. That is not going to happen. David Montgomery is not going to be around day 3. So we may have to engage in some draft day transactions in order to get David Montgomery. But I think he is worth it. And like I said earlier, he's probably one of the safest running back picks in this draft. This may be revisionist history or, you know, clinging to nostalgia. But I like the Panthers the most when we ran that 1A, 1B kind of offense. Jonathan Stewart, D'Angelo Williams, guys you have to always look for which one's getting the ball, who's going to be there, and I think that it would make defenses think twice and make defensive coordinators work even harder when they're planning for us, when they see us on the schedule like, oh man, the Panthers, they have David Montgomery, Christian McCaffrey, and Cam. How are we going to attack all 3 of those guys? And the triple option could work. Look, man, bring the option to the pro game. We can really run it like it could work. It could really work. But like I said, it may take some draft day transactions to actually get David Montgomery. I would not pick him up with number 77, but I would try to, you know, work our way up to maybe 85-ish to get him, and it could work. But either way, man, that's my thoughts on it. What are your thoughts on David Montgomery? Is he a really good backup? Do you want to see him as a backup kind of guy, or maybe as a 1A, 1B split reps? Maybe not down the middle, but like 60-40-ish kind of thing there. Could he and Christian McCaffrey be a dynamic duo? Kind of like what we had with JStew and D'Angelo Williams. I mean, that could really be what we're looking at here. But Do you also think it's going to take us, you know, trading up just slightly? Let me know all your thoughts about that in the comments below. And one last thing, if you haven't signed the petition to get the Panthers to notice and maybe even partner with this channel, I would 100% deeply appreciate it. We get 1,000 views on these videos all the time, and it takes 2 seconds, 10 seconds to just put first name, last name. It's in the pinned comment down below. I would very much so appreciate it from you guys, 100%. And as always, you already know to do that like button.
Cheers to you, appreciate the chance. Been told y'all I been the man. Been told y'all I had the gift. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Real ones gonna recommend. Count this as another win.